Hey, this is YQ from YQ Magic, and I'm here today to tell you how to get started with learning tarot. So this is part of my Tarot Snacks bite-sized tarot lessons to help you get started with learning tarot. And the number one tip I have for you if you want to get started learning tarot is to get a physical tarot deck. Yes, you want a deck in your hand so that you can start feeling it, so that you can start looking at the pictures to kind of really see what's happening, because seeing the cards versus looking at them on a screen is very different. And when you have the card itself in your hands, you can stare at it really close and see some details that you might miss out if it's purely on a screen. I know that learning from the internet is great. I recommend it, super great. But if you do want to be more serious about learning tarot, do get tarot decks. And I do want to caution you a bit, because there are some tarot decks that are about like $5 or less than $10, those out there. And when they come in like playing cards. They come in like playing card size. The card stock is not great, and then also the box is kind of like a flippy playing card kind of box. Do not get those decks. If you got those decks, take a pen and jot down your notes on it, because those are pirated decks, those are fake decks, and you do not want to use. You can still use them, of course. It's not like they are not going to be accurate, because some people ask me, are they going to be accurate? They are still going to be, but because it is like intellectual property that has been stolen, it's not that great. The karma, the juju there is not that great. And you might be asking, YQ, which tarot cards should I start with? Because there are so many tarot decks out there, and you see some, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so great, I want to buy it. And when you have it in your hands, you're like, I don't get it. So what I recommend and what I teach with is the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So my favorite is the Smith-Waite Centennial Edition, which has some sort of like a vintage filter on it, kind of like the old Instagram filters. I know nobody uses filters like that on Instagram anymore, so that's a reference that is just 10 years ago. So Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the reason why I recommend it is because a lot of the explanations on the internet are for the Rider-Waite-Smith, which also means that when you're learning, you want to double check, you want to reference, it's so much easier for you to get it from there. There are also other types of tarot decks. So for example, there's the Marseille, and then there's the, I forgot what is that weird guy's name. I forgot. It's very important. Someone might scream at me what it was. Quickly jumping in here, it is the Thoth deck. Anyway, the Rider-Waite-Smith is what I recommend, because there are a lot of explanation on the internet. So Rider-Waite-Smith is one of it. Some people really hate it, because they really hate how everyone looks so ancient, everyone looks so like from medieval times, and they don't like it. Another deck that I like would be the Modern Witch Tarot. I don't know whether they have anything that is less chunky. When I bought it, it was super chunky. I bought a limited edition, so it's like gold foil. You don't have to use a limited edition. I love this because the pictures have been updated to be more modern, and throughout the deck, most of them are like they look female. They might not identify as female, the people inside, but it's a, I would say, an all women deck, if I can say that, if I want to label a gender on it. The reason I like it, I mentioned just now, but the only thing I don't like it is that it's so big. It's very hard to shuffle. Even for myself, it's so hard to shuffle. But it's a deck I really like because of how the images appear. And then, of course, some other people like all sorts of different tarot decks. What I would recommend you is that before you buy, you can buy a Rider-Waite-Smith, find one that might be $20, $30, use that one. And then you can buy a separate one which is more different from Rider-Waite, so that you can learn with the Rider-Waite first, or even put them together so you can see what's the difference between the Rider-Waite and the deck that you like. And before you buy a deck, what I want you to do also is to maybe Google some of the images. Just put the name of the tarot deck in Google, and then images or reviews, and people will tell you whether they like it or not. And one other thing about buying a tarot deck, getting started with a tarot deck, is that do not buy a deck where the minor arcana are just no, this is like, I need to censor it because I'm recording a video as well. The minor arcana are the 56 tarot cards in the deck, and then some of it appears like playing cards, just like 5 hearts, 5 spades. You don't want to buy a deck like that, because you cannot know, you don't remember what the meanings are. I know someone who said, I'm gonna buy it and then I'm not gonna be distracted by other images and I'm gonna, memorize it. But I don't recommend that because it's very hard to memorize before you even know the meaning. So get one where the images can tell a story. So that is like the most important part of getting a tarot deck. So yes, if you want to get started learning tarot, get a deck. Number 2 is I would recommend, right, if you are getting a teacher, to just learn everything at one shot, because there are a lot of tarot cards that seem the same. And if you learn, the previous week you learned about this card and you realize, oh my gosh, the card is the same meaning, if you learn it at one shot, at least you get to know what the difference are, because some of the cards are very similar, but they have like different dimensions to it. So if you want to, I teach like within a day. So when I teach tarot, it's within a day. We run through all the meanings, and if there's anything worth mentioning, I'll mention it there as well. If you're learning tarot, I would recommend you not to look at the little white book that comes with the deck. So if you're buying a deck, it can come with a little white booklet where it has all the keywords of the cards. I don't recommend learning from there because a lot of keywords would be similar. Once I was running like a free session of for people to learn tarot, and then I stupidly released like keywords for the cards, and then people were just tripping over themselves asking, why does this card have the same keywords as that card? But because there wasn't anyone there to explain what the difference is, it was hard for them to really learn what the cards are. And you can get started learning tarot by practicing, and knowing that you don't have to get it right at the first start. There's no pressure for you to be like Nostradamus as soon as you pick up your cards. You can pick up a card, look at it, then double check what the card means. Because one thing is also that you don't want to pull a card and immediately go to the book to try and see what the meaning is, because the question that was asked can be a bit different from what the keywords are providing. So you just want to see the card first, explain what you see in the cards, and it can apply to the situation very, very well. Then you go to the book. So that is my recommendation. Another tip for getting started with tarot is do not use a big tarot spread. Do not start reading a Celtic cross with 10 cards and you get confused, because it will just demoralize you. So what you want to do is just pull one card for one question. If you need explanations, you pull one card again and one card again, and you explain it as you go along, because you will be less tripped up over the cards, and then you will be a lot more confident that way. And my last tip would be to practice by reading for yourself. The thing is that some people like to pull like a card of the day, and sometimes it doesn't really fit, the day that you went through. So what I recommend if you're reading for yourself is to actually have a question and read for it, because then it's more applicable versus like what's gonna happen throughout the day, and then one card cannot really fit all of it. So that's it for me today, and if you have any questions, if you would like me to cover more tarot snacks, let me know. Send me an email, hello@yqmagic.com, and I